Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hey, today is August the 6th. We're up at the farm. We're going to do a little surveying on our corn, and we'll run by our rented farm and we'll look at it too on the way home. But this is what it's looking like right now. This corn was planted on June the 2nd, and it's starting to put on ears. They're just starting to fill out. They're pretty small. I'm not going to pull any shucks back on it just yet, but it's got a lot of stalks are showing 2 ears. It looks like it's got a good making of an ear. We'll see what it does. But we've been getting a lot of rain. It's not super duper muddy, as you can see here, but we've got about 1.5 inches over the last week, and we've been getting a pretty steady rain as it needs it. We're definitely not hurting for rain, and that's good. But I think it should come on and do good. But we'll drive on back and look at it in some of the other places. So this variety here, everything on this farm is Asgrow 6435, and we planted Asgrow 6222 over on our other farm, and we planted that also here last year. And it was a shorter corn. Maybe it was just the season, I don't know. It didn't get this tall, but this corn here is good and tall, which is good and bad. I don't care how tall it is, as long as it puts on a good ear. And sometimes tall corn can get down on you a lot worse, but it's looking pretty good. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully it'll do fine. So if you can tell, that it's the whole lot of that is trying to put on 2 ears. Well, it is putting on 2 ears, and I hope it's okay. It's got one good looking ear on it, one smaller, but like I said, we'll see what it'll do. So this is the end of the big field of corn, and this is about the only place we can get to the end of it. It runs on down this way here, pretty good long ways. But this is where it is, and I can get to the end, so I brought you up here and look at this, and you see it's about the same as what we've been looking at. And other than this field here was planted on June the 3rd. What we looked at first was the 2nd, and this is the 3rd. So it's coming along. Well, we're gonna run over to Joe's place, our rented farm, and we'll check it out over there and see what it's looking like. It's about it was planted 27th and the 29th is the plant dates on it of May. So it's a few days ahead of this, but this is, catching up with it. But it's a little bit further along, and it's looking pretty good as well. But we'll go over and look at it here in just a second. All right, we're over at Joe's, and we're going to start off. We're going to look at some of this corn that the original plant date on it was May the 6th, and most of it didn't come up, and we had to replant. The new plant date was the 27th of May for this field because it rained for like 3 weeks. But I did leave a little bit. There's about a 1/4 acre down here on the end, somewhere between a 1/4 and a 1/2 acre that I left where it had come up and it looked pretty good. So I didn't replant it, and that's this. So it's several weeks ahead of the other. And it's gotten a little bit of stress on it that the other corn didn't get. It looks like a decent ear, but it didn't fill out all the way. And it's just now what you would say going out of roasting ears. And I don't think that this is going to be, I think their other corn or later planting corn is going to be much better than this. But I wanted to stop down here and just give you a bird's eye view of this. Something has got them a nice little trail through here. I got a feeling I know what it is. So yeah, here's a little patch, just a little spot out here that didn't have any in it, but let's look at some of this here, pick us out of here. Let's look at this ear right here. All right, if you can see that ear there's from our May 6 corn, and it's that's a pretty good ear. See if I can count the rows on it. All right, that ear of corn right there has got 18 rows of kernels around it. It's a good looking ear. I think that may be a little, of course it's come here and hand pick one, but that may be a little better than the average is going to be. Well, we'll go on and look at some of the later planted corn on this farm and see what it looks like. All right, this over here is some of the later planted corn. This was planted 29th of May. Same field that we just pulled that ear out of. And I hadn't got over here and mowed around this and yet. Pretty weedy around the edges. Well, we'll get up here where it's a little more open and we'll look at it. Honestly, I think the later planted corn, because of the water and the rain that we've gotten since we planted it on a regular basis, I think it's gonna be better corn than what that May 6 corn was. And like I said, we've only got just a little bit of it that we didn't replant anyway. We'll get up here at the top of the hill, we'll stop and look at it. All right, this is the same field. This was the May 27th planting. And this farm was no-tilled. Our other farm's conventional till. And like I said, you can see that this is behind what we just looked at quite a bit, but it's 21 days difference in the plant date on it. And then we've got this over here in this other field. This was planted, no, I told you wrong. This was planted the 27th. This was planted the 29th. But this is the 27th plant date. But it's fair looking corn. I'm tickled with it, kind of excited to see what it'll do. And this is the 6222 Asgrow. It's what we planted last year, and under the drought conditions that we had last year on our farm, we yielded a little over 150 bushel an acre with it, so I was pretty pleased with it under the conditions that we had last year. This year we've had plenty of water. Hopefully we'll see a little bit better yield on it. As of right now, it's looking pretty good. So we'll go on up. To this end, and we'll go across, and there's one more field up here that lays out on the road, and we'll look at it. Alright, we're up here on the far end of the field. Now, this is the same variety of corn we planted last year, and it's much taller this year than what it got last year, but it says a lot more water on it this year than what it got last time too. And this is the last field we just came into. This is the one that lays out by the road. Really seeing any difference in it. It looks pretty good to me. This was planted on May 27th as well. I'm not going to pull them shucks back. It's just started making the ear good. It's not in roasting ears yet. And they look like they're going to be some pretty decent ears as long as we keep getting the rain. Get another rain or two on it during this phase, we should be good, which we got a lot of moisture in the ground now. It's going to be interesting to me to see which is different varieties, so it's not going to be a real fair comparison, but the difference between this no-till and the conventional till. And one thing on this farm here, by our soil samples, we had to put a little more fertilizer under it, and also because I put the fertilizer down in April and we got 7 inches of rain between the time May 6th when we planted and May 27th when we got back to planting. A lot of the, I was pretty sure a lot of the nitrogen had dissipated, and I didn't know really how much we had left. I know we had lost some of the initial nitrogen that we put down. So when we went back and top dressed it, I put some extra nitrogen on it, a little bit more than what I would normally do. I don't know if that paid off. I don't know if I made any money by it or not. The only way to know that is not done it and see what it turned out to be. But we did put a little extra nitrogen on it at time of top dressing, and it's looking good right now, but we'll see how it yields and how it turns out. Lord's willing, if it's still standing here in a couple of months, we'll be in here harvesting and see what we get. Well guys, thank you for being here and watching the channel. Just wanted to show you how the corn was doing. Hadn't had a lot of videos out here of late. I've just been doing some bush hogging and stuff, and I will have some videos of that out. But we are just kind of a hurry up wait phase, and we'll be trying to get everything ready for harvest and be ready to go when the time comes. But I do appreciate you being here, appreciate you watching the channel, and as always, we'll see you next time.